What's up, guys? Chase Oliver 68 here, bringing you my UFC 163 recap and results. All right, let's get started. Now, UFC 163 was supposed to be headlined by Jose Aldo taking on Anthony Pettis. But then Anthony Pettis suffered an injury, and so everyone's like, oh no, not that fight. But Korean Zombie came in, and everyone's like, oh, that's a pretty good replacement. But somehow Anthony Pettis is okay to fight later this month. I don't know. This feels weird to me that Pettis can jump in between. Like, I feel bad for TJ Grant because he got hurt too. That's why Pettis got the shot for the lightweight title. But I was looking forward to Aldo versus Pettis, in my personal opinion. But we got Zombie versus Aldo. That's okay. So let's just get started with the UFC 163 card. At a catchweight bout at 129 pounds. And no, I'm not making this up because John Lineker can't make weight. John Lineker took on Jose Maria. He won this fight, second round TKO. In all honesty, John Lineker looking pretty good in the flyweight division, but he just needs to make the damn weight. This dude is too small for bantamweight division, because if he goes to the bantamweight, all he's going to face, when Dominic Cruz somehow comes back with his torn ACL, which we don't know if he ever is going to come back, all Dominic Cruz is going to do to John Lineker is this, ha, 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 ha. Like, just own this kid. So he's too small for bantamweights, and he seems trouble making the flyweight weight. So we have to wait and see what's up with John Lineker, but he beat Jose Maria. I believe this was Jose Maria's first UFC fight, maybe his last too, after the way he got knocked out. He looked impressive, but not super duper impressive in this fight. We got the return of Talis Latis, and he took on Tom Watson, who is he won 12 out of his last 14 fights. If you guys don't remember Talis Latis, and if that name is ringing the bell, just remember UFC 97 Redemption. Remember where he just laid there like this, and Anderson's like, come on, let's fight, bro. Let's fight, bro. That's where you see Talis Latis. That was Talis Latis' defining moment for most people's eyes. And then I believe he lost another fight, and then he got cut from the UFC. And now he's back. And, you know, this fight right here was like, okay, is Tom Watson good on the ground? Did Talis Latis improve in his striking? This was a fight to see where each guy's at in their careers and see if they can rise up the middleweight class. Let me just say this. Tom Watson on the ground is ass. Talis Latis striking is still ass. I mean, he did improve a little bit, but his shot setup wasn't anything too impressive to me. I like that Talis Latis was aggressive, but he just didn't impress me in this fight. He did win by unanimous decision, so good for him. Cesar Ferrara, one of Vitor Belfort's students, so you look just like Vitor mixed with the Fawn, so that's pretty much it there. Took on Thiago Santos, who had his UFC debut. Let me just say this, Cesar Ferrara, this kid looks like he has a lot of great potential. I would like to see him face someone bigger and better in the middleweight division to really judge where this kid's going to be in the near future, because this guy looked impressive. I mean, that right hook that he hit was nasty, and that submission that he put on after the right hook, that little takedown exchange that he had, and then very beautifully sweeped into that guillotine, Darce choke, I forgot which one he hit. Very beautiful submission, and he ended up winning the fight. I really like the Cesar Ferrara kid. I think he has a lot of potential, and I would like to see him face a tougher guy in his next fight. Sorry, Thiago Santos, you might be like Jose Maria. You might not even see the UFC again. Who knows? Maybe they will. All right. We got a light heavyweight bout. Top contender, Lyoto Machida. He's pretty much fighting Phil Davis. And Phil Davis, this is Phil Davis here. He needs a big win in his career if he wants to keep moving up the light heavyweight ladder. I mean, Phil Davis, you know, he's a wonderful fighter. He's a guy that is definitely a great prospect in the UFC light heavyweight division, but he needs to beat someone. I mean, Rashad Evans he couldn't beat, so now he's going against the Dragon, Lyoto Machida. And this is how the first round went. You know, the first round, Lyoto swarmed him. I thought it was over, but it turns out that Phil Davis managed to survive. Hits a takedown at the end. Gets a nice little couple strikes in. We move on to round two. Round two is pretty much just punching air and Phil Davis lunging to do shit. That's pretty much what it looked like to me, and Lyoto just kicking him in the legs. Phil Davis, at the end of that round, catches another takedown. Lyoto, during the fight, also stuffed 2 takedowns in this round. Now, in the third round, pretty much it was like, okay, who's winning this fight? Because this fight was pretty damn close. This is how I was judging it for me personally. Round one, I gave to Lyoto. I thought he had the better significant strikes. I felt that he was controlling the octagon better, and I felt that flurry was good enough for me to give him the first round. I didn't think the takedown by Phil Davis was good enough. Round two, I gave to Phil Davis because I felt he was cutting off Machida well, even though he was lunging shit for no reason. I felt that he did a good job. at, you know, stopping Lyoto's movements. It caused Lyoto to fall, drop his hands a little bit and say, okay, I got to keep going. All right. Can't really sleep on you, kid. I see what you're doing here. And I really did like that takedown, and I felt he had some really good shots at the end of that round. Now, in the third round, it was very, very hard to call. But I still gave that third round to Machida. Pretty much this round was pretty much just like Phil Davis still doing the same shit, trying to take down Machida. Machida stuffed everything. And then Machida started to open up a little bit. Davis got taken down himself, but he got up real quickly. In all honesty, I just thought, why didn't Lyoto try to take Davis onto his back more? I mean, didn't you watch the Rashad fight? Bill Davis fighting off his back is not that great. But in the end of it all, the fight itself, it was pretty lackluster. Once again, another so-so performance for Machida. Phil Davis didn't look anything wonderful in this fight. As his nickname is claimed, Mr. Wonderful. Phil Davis ends up winning this fight, 29-28 UD. Fans were clearly upset. Yeah, all you could hear during Phil Davis's post-fight interview, and Phil Davis gave a good post-fight interview, you know, calling Machida a legend, you know, asking for people to pray for his friend and all that other stuff. Like, very classy interview by Phil Davis. But all you hear from the Brazilians, boo, because they're pissed off. Their boy Machida just lost. And Machida, you know, in his post-fight interview, he's like, you know, listen to the crowd. You know, they agree with me. And it's like, okay, Machida, I agree that you got robbed out of this fight. But the thing is, you're in Brazil. You're in motherfucking Brazil. Bill Davis could have kicked your ass for 3 fucking rounds. If Bill Davis would have laid on top of him and beat his ass for 3 rounds, those fans still would have booed Bill Davis. They still would have booed him no matter what. They would still think Lyoto would have won the fight. So, in all honesty, when Lyoto says, look at the fans, of course they're going to cheer for you, dude. You're from Brazil. They're going to love you. Unless you just totally suck ass. But Lyoto, he did win this fight to me. It was a so-so performance, but he did win this fight to me. But the main lesson here is that maybe Lyoto needs to change his fight style a little bit. This is the same shit that happened with Rampage. Rampage somehow won a random fight against Lyoto Machida, and people are going to say, oh, this demands a rematch. Shit, Rampage didn't get a rematch with Lyoto. Lyoto and Rampage didn't get a rematch because that fight was boring. Why would anyone want to see Davis versus Lyoto again? That fight would be boring as hell. And the way Lyoto fought tonight, and the way Phil Davis took him down, and just how Phil Davis was just lunging at him and still putting some good, significant shots in, he has no chance against John Jones to me. He has no chance against John Jones to me. Maybe it's time for the Dragon to stop doing this a little bit, and maybe more of this. Just saying. I mean, I understand. It's his style. I get it. People are going to say, but that's Lyoto's style, Chase. Yeah, but when you watch the Rashad fight from like 2008, Lyoto wasn't just doing this the whole fight. He was actually going in at Rashad. He was going in. Lyoto sometimes now, I don't know what has happened. He's not as aggressive as he used to be. He now is just all of a sudden just complete counter puncher. He's just a complete counter fighter now. And he's always been a counter fighter, but he's always been more aggressive than what he was now. I don't understand what's up with Lyoto's style. I'm sorry if I went on a rant on Lyoto Machida, but I'm going to speak my mind about it. So, yeah, maybe Lyoto needs to change his style up so that way he doesn't lose decisions. Because like I said, octagon control is part of the fight. And like I said, Phil Davis, he cut off Lyoto sometimes very good in this fight. But I thought Lyoto did win this fight on a so-so performance. So, yeah, it is what it is. We got the featherweight title fight between Jose Aldo taking on Chan Sung Jung. Chan Sung Jung had to rehab his left shoulder, I think it was, or his right shoulder. One of his shoulders popped, and Chan Sung Jung had to rehab it, so he was out for a while. He was able to come and fight for Jose Aldo's title. And boy, did he fit his nickname. The zombie was right during this fight. Literally, this was Chan Sung Jung most of the fight. Yo, you going to do anything, Chan Sung? So you're just going to stand there? Oh, okay, you're doing something. Okay, oh. Now you're just standing there again. I mean, that was the whole fight for Chan Sung Jung. I was like, what are you doing? You're just standing in front of Jose Aldo. You're letting Jose Aldo pick you apart. Like, Jose was picking him apart. And, you know, really, to be honest, the first 2 rounds, I'm not going to lie, they were kind of boring. Besides the spinning heel kick and a couple little exchanges here and there, nothing really too interesting. Takedown by Aldo. Third round, oh, God, the third round, that was sick when Jose Aldo caught him when Jung was flying at him with the knee, and Aldo put him down to the ground. And then afterwards, Aldo and Chan Sung Jung just stood there, and it was so boring. It was just like, they weren't even doing any transition. They were just, Jose's like, hey, dude, I'm just laying on you. And Chan Sung's like, Okay. And they just stood there, and Herb Dean, 4 times he said, action, action. Yo, just stand them up already. They ain't doing shit. All Chance on John's doing this. He ain't doing crap. And then Jose Aldo did it again in the later round, third round, and then Chance on John went for a flying knee. Had it all. He didn't have Aldo hurt. Had Aldo on his back, and pretty much I was like, okay, the fourth round is going to be interesting. Fourth round, and more Chance on just doing this. And then afterwards, there was a little exchange. So Chance on goes, hits Jose Aldo in the back of the head, kind of shit like that. Jose Aldo hits him, and then all of a sudden you just see Chance on John's shoulder just pops. And you can tell Jose Aldo, he's a shark. He smells this blood in the damn water. He's going to attack it. Chance on John's more worried about readjusting his shoulder. Aldo just kicks it like a bunch of fucking times. Chance on John just falls down. During the whole beatdown, when Jose is beating him down, Chance on's just holding his shoulder. Herb Dean just stepped it up. Chance on couldn't even get up after the fight. He's holding his damn shoulder. I mean, it was nasty. It was nasty. He hurt his own shoulder by overextending, so that's what happens when you overextend sometimes, people. You can hurt your own shit. You can break your own limbs. But Chance on John just really disappointing despite Jose Aldo. He looked good in this fight. I wouldn't say impressive, but he just picked apart. Like Mike Goldberg said best, it was just another sparring match for Jose Aldo. But UFC 163, not the best UFC event. I thought it was kind of lulling at times. A lot of filler on this card. We saw a lot of pre-fight, preliminary bouts in this card. Good preliminary, good preliminary fights, but a lot of filler on this card. But overall, if you guys like UFC, the fights I would say to check out during this is the Phil Davis-Lyoto Machida match. Just so that way you could just say, who won this fight? Oh, by the way, Dan Henderson's probably laughing his ass somewhere because Lyoto lost the fight like that. So he's probably happy. Dan Henderson's probably like, that's what you get. TRT, baby. TRT. Probably doing something like that. That just to see that fight. I would also suggest to check out the Jose Aldo and Chance on Jung fight, just in case you want to see what it's like to see the Korean Zombie not do shit. But other than that, this card didn't really have any memorable fights. But anyways, if you guys like me, you can subscribe by clicking down below. Like this video, dislike this video, do whatever you want with this video. Share this video to your friends. Follow me on Twitter at ChaseOliver68. Anyways, I'm out of here. Don't be like the Korean Zombie. Don't overpunch. Don't hurt your shoulder. Don't do anything stupid on this Saturday night. Stay safe. Be safe. I'll see you all later. And remember, like Jose Aldo said, drive safe. You don't want to end up like Kurt Angle with the DWI. Check out that video. Peace!